Hey everybody, I was wrong. That was the end of the second part. So now we're on part 3 of Walk With Me Gaming playing Dear Esther. So now we begin at the caves. Absolutely. So I thought, oh, I don't think this is it. I forgot. The later part in the caves is when I thought we were. But that's where you fall down. So, and this will be. I love this part. This is probably my favorite part, and I'll be talking a lot more because he actually doesn't talk much in the caves, except for this introduction and a few little spots here and there. Excuse me.
From here, this last time, I have understood there is no turning back. The torch is failing along with my resolve. I can hear the singing of the sea creatures from the passages above me, and they are promising the return of the gulls.
Huh. So, last time, after I fell down, he talked about more about Jakobsen falling down here. Also, I like that he says his torch is not working, obviously. So, no more flashlights, which is known as a torch to British people. So yeah, these are the caves, and it is so beautiful. This is like, I feel like this must be a lot of people's favorite part of the game, just because of the intricacy of it. Because there are caves like this, and I'd love to see them. Candles are also interesting because you have to question, this is where it again ranges into being kind of almost a retelling. Like, this can't be real because who would bring these candles down here and they're already lit when you arrived? Very weird. This music's lovely. Just the subtle vocals in the music is really nice. You made... I forgot this part. Automatic crouch. Already did. You may notice my voice sounds slightly different. I don't know if you do notice that, but that's because I have gotten some sleep and it's actually a day ahead, which makes me laugh because I can't even finish an hour and a half game in one sitting. So... But we're moving on with it anyway. I can't tell if this part is supposed to be just like natural or man-made, like those pillars that are up on the surface, like in the first part. I don't know. Maybe I'm looking too much into it, but that's kind of the point.
It was as if someone had taken the car and shaken it like a cocktail. The glove compartment had been opened and emptied with the ashtrays and the boot. It made for a crumpled museum, a shattered exhibition.
Yeah. Car crashes can be devastating. So, like I talked about before, or I think I talked about before, the kind of basic plot of this is reminiscing over the tragic loss of someone through a car crash, and so that does get brought up a lot. We saw the car parts in the earlier section, and again showing why this is kind of more of a dream state than a actual person doing this walk right now. This is so crazy looking. The lighting in this is such a pretty game. Even years later, this being just a modified game, and just a mod that someone made in a game, and they were able to make all this stuff and just design this beautiful world. I mean, it is kind of perfect for something where it's like all you want to do is just go for a walk and chat about the beauty of nature. And this game is very much the beauty of nature. Most of the games we'll play won't They won't all be like this, but this one, oh my god. There should be like mermaids singing in here or something. Alright, well, this one will not start into the next section like the last time. Just diving in. I feel like I hit the bottom much faster than I should have. Moving on before he drowns though. Where are we? Oh, there he is. At least that hopefully his broken leg is okay with all this climbing through wet, rocky surfaces. I'm always curious if the light is supposed to be like this is coming straight from just outside, or if there's something else glowing in here, like the fungus. These little guys, these little jellyfish mushrooms. I hope I'm not too inconsistent with my voice right now, because I feel like if I'm talking or yelling, this is not a PewDiePie video. I don't need to be yelling while playing Dear Esther. I don't think I'll be yelling very much at all, unless I end up playing a scary game at some point, which I very well might yell then, because I don't do well with scary games. I don't think there's any that I would want to play because, again, if it has like survival stuff, I don't want to deal with it. But if it's more like, already dive in here? Oh yeah, wait, is that from before? I can't tell. Can't tell if I should dive in here or not. But I think I keep walking. I think the only games that I've seen in terms of like horror games, I know, I believe, I've watched some playthroughs, but not very closely, that Layers of Fear is one that I don't have to survive. It's just scary, and I'd be okay with that. And also Soma, which you can turn off the enemies attacking you, which sounds like such a cop-out, but that's just how I play games. I'm really terrible at games where I have to survive and fight and whatever. Like, if I could play Half-Life 2 on this with like no combat, I'd love it. And of course, combat's pretty important in a first-person shooter. Oh well. I know I didn't talk about the game much, but this is kind of the introductory videos to this channel anyway, so we're just kind of talking in general. Hello.
If the caves are my guts, this must be the place where the stones are first formed. The bacteria phosphoresce and rise, singing through the tunnels. Everything here is bound by the rise and fall, like a tide. Perhaps the whole island is actually underwater.
Okay, so last time I played this, I went over there thinking maybe I could see the end somewhere, and it just loops around. And I'm guessing this side does the same thing, but I might as well go see. So I can't tell if that's supposed to be a fungus or if it's more paint, but I don't know. Lovely, lovely, lovely game. Intricate designs. Oh crap. I'm glad we came down here. Look at that. So, you guys will see more of these later. If you can't tell, those were paper boats. But they do play a part in the story later on. And I'm glad we came down and saw them, because now we can reference those later. Wonder if that changes what he says about it later on. I guess we'll find out. I kind of wonder if walking through something like this by yourself would actually be better or worse if you were walking with someone else. Like if you had someone with you, I almost feel like you'd be more nervous. Like it'd feel more like a horror story, like you two were being like pursued or like something was wrong. When you're by yourself, it's just like you could just be at peace. What I'm trying to say is you guys are ruining my peace by being here with me. That's not true at all. Even if this was like a Twitch stream or something and you were all chatting with me, I'd still be happy to have you. Because I like to share this. I do wonder if how popular games like this actually are. Like I know that people loved, well, critics and people talked about Firewatch and games like that, or the Vanishing of Ethan Carter, games like those where they got attention from media outlets, but like, you know, a game like this, like, is this just too much for some people where they do not want to play this game that requires so much just wandering around doing nothing? But I don't know. Guess we'll see. And again, that's why I wanted to play it. It's to expose people to a game like this.
This is a drowned man's face reflected in the moonlit waters. It can only be a dead shepherd who has come to drunk drive you home.
Yeah. Well, I lost my train of thought now, because now I just got all sad. His voice is so sad there. I love the actor in it. Oh yeah, it's coins. Tons and tons of coins. Wonder if there is like a well on the surface that we missed. That was like where this was coming down, which would be a fun little addition to it. So many coins. Little bits of texture issues maybe? I don't know. It's not a perfect game. That's okay. We don't mind. We're here for the story. Out we go. Found more candles. Interesting. Maybe a shepherd did dive in. He's hanging out down here. But if you do, I mean, if you do like a game like this, if you're watching this and you're like, I never want, I love this part. Like you're like, I never wanted to play one of these games. It just wasn't my type. I didn't know if I'd like it. You know, maybe watching this will give you a second thought. Maybe you'll want to try it. Because I do suggest. Okay, ghosts, you can stop crying now. So creepy. It's like the mind of a madman just slowly dissolving, or very quickly dissolving, I'd say, with all this. But if you do like games like this and you're enjoying these playthroughs, please, support the creators, because they put all this hard work into the game, and away from being a city. I can't help but play this and think of there's a wonderful gamer, streamer guy called Panoots, and way back in the day, before all this stuff was popular, doing Let's Plays and all that, he actually did a playthrough of Dear Esther, and I'm really trying not to copy things he said, and I would say you should all go watch it, but unfortunately he took it down from his channel because he didn't like his old content very much, which is understandable. But I thoroughly enjoyed it, and if you like someone who just kind of talks while playing some old games, or new games, assorted games, you should check out Panoots, because He's excellent. He also is a great animator, so he does some funny cartoons too. Get a breath of air. It'd be funny if you could actually like drown here. I don't think you can drown. You can drift in the water though. No, I'm not gonna test it. These caves. Down we go. Well, I think this might be the important one. Yeah. So, I don't know what that says. So, I think this is actually the end of part 3. Well, after this little section coming up, but this is where we get into very much a realm of kind of fantasy, I guess you could say. So we're gonna dive in and let's see if this ends. I forget. Yep. So this is where we're getting a little bit on the I don't even know what to say. It's just so cool to see this, like a full-on, just a big highway with these broken cars. You can hear the tires screeching there. It's a nice touch. Just, this is their end. This is where it happened. Where all this started. We get to see it from our perspective. And underwater recollection. Now we go up. And you can stay down here as long as you want. I'm choosing to go up. Just gonna move on. Yeah. There we are. Back in the real world. Yeah. As real as it can be. This world has been questionably real. Another example of this game is so good with the tone and the setting telling the story. You saw this recollection of the car crash that brought all this upon us, and we leave with angelic choirs singing and calm stillness, and not the darkness of the cave that we saw before, but actually a fairly well lit and comforting. So it's a nice way to finish out this piece. Alright, so I think this is the end of part 3. We'll be back in part 4 to finish up Dear Esther.